Right now, STRV Inc. is trading at exactly 0.91 USD, showing a modest intraday gain of plus 0.0046, or roughly 0.51% in today's session. On the surface, this price action looks like typical behavior for a small-cap stock drifting in a consolidation channel. You might see the sub-dollar price and immediately categorize this as just another penny stock fighting for compliance or liquidity. That is the expectation. A low-priced, high-risk flyer with little substance, perhaps sitting in a retail trader's dormant account on Robinhood or SoFi alongside other speculative bets that never quite panned out. The volume is steady, but not explosive, and the order book shows a tight tug-of-war between market makers pinning the price and retail accumulation. However, the reality is vastly more complex and potentially explosive. What looks like a stagnant penny stock chart is actually the technical footprint of a company undergoing one of the most aggressive corporate metamorphoses in the current market. This is not just a digital marketing firm or a standard asset manager anymore. You are looking at what could arguably be described as a baby MicroStrategy in its embryonic phase. The flatness you see at the $0.91 level is likely not disinterest. It is the calm before a potential storm of repricing as the market attempts to digest STRV Inc.'s pivot into a full-blown Bitcoin Treasury company. The lack of volatility today contradicts the massive structural changes happening behind the scenes, creating a tension between the stock's current valuation and its theoretical book value if their capital deployment strategy succeeds. When you look at the intraday chart, you will notice that every time the price attempts to dip below $0.90, bid support steps in almost algorithmically. This suggests that there is a floor being established, possibly by institutional accumulators who understand the mechanics of the pending merger with Semler Scientific and the implications of the Section 351 tax-free Bitcoin exchange offer. Most retail investors using Fidelity mobile app or Interactive Brokers trading platforms see a flat line and move on to something flashier like Nvidia stock. But astute observers see coiled energy. The stock is effectively being re-underwritten by the market. We're transitioning from valuing this entity based on its legacy business, which was social media engagement and digital marketing, to valuing it as a leveraged vehicle for acquiring hard assets. That discrepancy between the legacy perception and the new Bitcoin standard reality is where the opportunity and the extreme risk lie. Let's analyze the market psychology playing out right now. The 0.91 handle is a psychological barrier. Stocks trading under $1 often face skepticism regarding NASDAQ compliance and liquidity. However, the volume profiles over the last few weeks indicate that turnover is increasing, not decreasing. This is often a sign of churn, where old shareholders who are tired of waiting are selling out to a new class of investors who are buying in for the new thesis. You are witnessing a shareholder base rotation in real time. The sellers are looking at the past performance. The buyers are looking at the pro forma balance sheet that includes thousands of Bitcoin. This friction keeps the price pinned, but once the rotation is complete, the supply overhang often vanishes, leading to rapid price discovery. To understand why STRV Inc. is attracting attention on forums and investing sites, we have to strip away the noise and look at the business model pivot. Historically, this entity, formerly Asset Entities, was involved in the creator economy. That's old news. The new STRV Inc., led by figures associated with STRV Asset Management, is executing a strategy that explicitly treats Bitcoin as the primary reserve asset, the hurdle rate for all capital allocation. This is a profound shift. They are not just buying Bitcoin with excess cash, they are restructuring the entire equity stack to absorb Bitcoin. The mechanism they are proposing, a Section 351 exchange, is a sophisticated piece of financial engineering. It effectively allows Bitcoin holders to swap their digital assets for STRV equity without triggering an immediate taxable event. Think about the implications of that. There are billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin sitting in early adopter wallets with massive unrealized gains. If they sell on Coinbase or Robinhood Crypto, they get hit with capital gains tax. STRV is pitching them a solution. Trade your Bitcoin for our stock, defer the taxes, and gain exposure to a diversified operating company that also holds Bitcoin. If this mechanism gains traction, STRV Inc. could rapidly accumulate a massive treasury without spending a dime of fiat cash. That is the reality that the $0.91 price tag does not yet fully reflect. Furthermore, the integration of STRV Asset Management's philosophy adds a layer of excellence capitalism to the brand. They are positioning themselves as the anti-ESG environmental, social, and governance alternative in the asset management space. While giants like BlackRock and Vanguard have historically pushed for stakeholder capitalism, STRV's mandate is strictly shareholder primacy. This resonates with a specific, large demographic of investors who feel alienated by corporate political activism. By combining this ideological stance with a hard asset treasury strategy, they are creating a dual engine for attracting capital. One engine attracts political or cultural capital. The other attracts sound capital advocates. Let's pause for a moment on the specific trading dynamics we are seeing today. The spread is tight, often just a fraction of a cent. If you're placing limit orders on Schwab Intelligent Portfolios or E-Trade, you might find that execution is swift. This liquidity is crucial. It implies that market makers are active and willing to facilitate flow. In many sub-dollar stocks, the spread is wide and liquidity is dry, making it a roach motel, easy to get in, hard to get out. STRV Inc. does not show those symptoms today. The volume is healthy enough to support mid-sized entries and exits, which further supports the thesis that this is an accumulated asset, not a neglected one. Comparison is the thief of joy, but in the market, it is the mother of valuation. You have to look at Tesla stock and MicroStrategy. When Tesla added Bitcoin to its balance sheet, it legitimized the corporate treasury model. When MicroStrategy leveraged its balance sheet to buy Bitcoin, it decoupled its stock price from its software business. STRV Inc. is attempting to follow the MicroStrategy playbook, but with a twist, using the public equity markets to consolidate Bitcoin from private holders via tax-advantaged swaps. If they achieve even a fraction of the multiple expansion that MicroStrategy did, the current price of $0.91 would be viewed retrospectively as a generationally cheap entry point. However, the risk is execution. MicroStrategy had a profitable software business to service its debt. STRV Inc. is building this plane while flying it, merging different entities, asset management, social tech, medical tech via Semler, into one cohesive unit. The market struggles to value conglomerates like this, often applying a conglomerate discount. The bull case is that eventually, the market will apply a sum of the parts valuation that is significantly higher than the current market cap. Investors participating in online investing often miss the regulatory angle. STRV's explicit goal is to engage in corporate governance, voting their shares in other companies to push back against policies they deem destructive to shareholder value. This activist approach gives them media visibility that most small-cap companies would kill for. Every time their executives appear on financial news to debate corporate governance, it acts as free marketing for the stock. This attention economy asset is intangible but valuable. It keeps the ticker symbol in the public consciousness, which is half the battle for a small-cap stock trying to break out. Now, I want you to engage with this idea. Comment below how many shares of STRV Inc. you currently hold, or if you think their Bitcoin accumulation strategy is brilliant or reckless. It's a polarizing topic, and seeing the sentiment in the comments often gives us a better read on retail conviction than the charts do. Let's expand on the macro environment. We are currently in a period where the US dollar is facing long-term debasement questions, driving interest in alternative assets. Gold is the traditional answer, but Bitcoin has captured the imagination of the digital generation. STRV Inc. is positioning itself as a bridge between the traditional equity market and this new asset class. For an investor who can't buy spot Bitcoin due to mandate restrictions, like certain pension funds or older investment trusts, buying a stock like STRV Inc. is a workaround. They get equity exposure that correlates with Bitcoin. This institutional demand is the whale that every small-cap investor hopes will show up. If we look at the sector momentum, financial services and asset